Hello again, this is Shinny with today's edition of So You Want to Be Axe Bend. We're looking here at Mendon's. It's one of the quote-unquote back towers for the red side on EB. There's some debate about whether it's truly a back tower because it's so out in the middle of nowhere and easy to get to, and the claim being that Veloka right here and Ogres right here are the true back towers because they're much easier to defend. But that's a silly debate for PV forumers. Mendon's is definitely tough to keep without a scout. It's pretty easy to get here without being seen, just coming through the dredge even. Or even by ands, which is another really difficult to defend and hold if you don't have scouting. Mendon's is also pretty unique in the setup that it has here, and that so much like Quinton Lake used to be, so much of it is open. It makes it really handy for, really easy for staff Ellies or scepter Ellies to clear stuff out of here. If they're not dealt with or kept under pressure, it may take a scepter Ellie a little while to do it, but they can get this stuff, pretty much all of the siege in here down, except for a couple of things along the wall here that are harder to get, and kind of in here. Just the other day I took down a treb sitting not quite there, but on top of this depot from out here, and kind of over here a little bit, kind of kiting while I did it. I was going to place some more ACs on top of that depot, but I got siege capped there, so... but the idea being that if you do know you have a scepter alley running around killing siege, you put some ACs right in here, which actually do provide a use in being able to hit the Lord Room, but they also make it much tougher for the Ellie to target the Treb for the Dragon's Tooth, and if you put them far enough down here, then the splash is less likely to hit the Treb itself. And the Treb obviously is for the little Catahill there and out there, and I'll get to that later. So let's get right to it. The same old with the oil. It kind of sucks because it's oil. You might get a few hits out of it usually if the people aren't stupid, but you'll get burned down pretty quick. Cannon. Let's look at the range here. It's pretty far out. You can hit almost anything that gets put up here. I don't have radius, so you could probably hit everything up here. The radius being probably enough to increase. Mortar. Let's go with the mortar real quick. This mortar isn't useless, like a lot of in the sense a lot of mortars are. You can use it obviously to hit the catapults out here. Put more power into it. You thread the needle, you can kind of hit where the guild cat or the close catas would be right here, but mostly it'd be for right in here. Maybe stuff out in here. But I've also seen it used a lot to hit. It's usually pointed towards ands. But a lot of that defense from ands can also be done from the keep, which is much easier. So the mortar is a low priority upgrade for this tower. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the trebs first today instead of arrow carts like I usually do. I built this on purpose bad. This is roughly the normal distance you have on most towers for a door treb, but look where it hits. It might hit the rams, but you don't have the proper radius you would have by placing it other places. So when you're placing trebs like that, you got to be wary of on the bridges. Like the same thing goes in hills. As the elevation increases, so does the shot fired, which is why one of the reasons you often see a treb way back here. And you barely have to put any power into it from back here. And it will hit, you know, right on the door there. That one also has the added bonus of being a little bit harder to AoE down. It's still possible to AoE down with meteor showers and stuff, but a lot of the times the commander will just pass it by, and because they don't know how to case up a tower. Okay. I've also seen Trebs put at the back of where the mortar is too, for obvious reasons, but that's a low priority placement for siege. Now this Treb, I kind of talked about it a bit already. You don't need a whole lot of power to get it out there where you need it to be. And you can also use it to hit way out here when they do long Trebs. It's a pretty good defense spot. It's not very AoEable except for Dragon's Tooth. Dragon's Tooth is about the only thing that can get this thing. Or an AC put down here somewhere. But if an AC is put down there, you can also... well, obviously you have this AC here to defend, but it's also much easier to rain down on people than it is to rain up on them. Okay, there's our Treb for the day. Now I didn't lay the subs here. I didn't lay, but this is pretty clearly a door AC. It's not. It's okay usage. There's much better things you could do there, like the door Trebs. But it could put good. The AC would put good pressure on the gate if they stack on it. But you also have like this one here. You can kind of see it gets pretty good coverage on the gate there. And also this AC right here can hit the tip of the gate. And this is another good example of using the staircase to bump your AC back, and you notice it does have damage on it. So it is AoEable, but it's much tougher to AoE down. It will survive more meteor showers than would otherwise. But it's not exactly the best. See, it's tough to get on the door there from that angle. Pretty tough to get on the door there. So that one's more of an anti-personnel AC. The primary use for this one would be for using out here. You can get some of this out here. You can also kind of put pressure on. Closed cat is over here. This ballista is probably the best thing you're going to have. I can't, there's nothing out there to target, so I can't use it, but the ballista will hit down any cat that gets put up out here and can fire much faster than the bubble will prevent. So you want to have a ballista up here. Having a ballista up here is very important, and oftentimes it's used more as a because the commander will come along, see there's tons of siege in here, and they'll go up to the top of this hill, lay a ballista themselves. So you want to be on the ballista and the Treb and this AC, so you can get that down as fast as possible to minimize the damage their ballista can do, if they even get it up at all. Now I want to. I didn't bother building all the ACs that could be built as an example for this because it would have taken forever. All along this bridge is a fine place for an AC to cover, say a thief's getting a yak down here or something like that, or they're coming along to try and AoE this Treb down. It's tough to see where these ACs are planted, so they're tougher to AoE down. You have to kind of guess and see where your numbers pop up. But this one right here will cover, a lot of the good standing spots along here. Now, I have one in the Lord room, but it doesn't. It's much tougher to target because you see it's too close. You only get right there. See right there. So it's not the best placement. This one's going to be more of a, oh, they're rushing the Lord, and hopefully you have people to defend with you, because if you don't, then this AC is just going to get mowed down anyways along with you. This one is a little bit better example. You can't hit quite out there as well, but you do get better coverage for someone who's trying to AoE down stuff. The better placement, in my opinion, is probably right here. Although this is Dragon's Toothable pretty easily, as in Meteor Shower, obviously. It gives you a much better viewpoint for targeting for anyone trying to AoE this stuff down. So anywhere in here is really good for ACs, especially because, let's go back here, because of that. You can hit the Lord Room, and if they're pushing and you have defenders, you're going to be the last thing to get mowed down if you're back there. And that pressure on all along, as much as you can target along here and into the Lord Room, will really help whatever defenders you have to try and hold the circle. And I'm going to go back up here to this this AC that I built earlier. Because I forgot to mention that. You can hit the edge of the Lord Room with this, and the placement here makes it so that most of the people will usually, unless the commander tells them to go up the wall to clear siege, most of the people will just rush the Lord Room. You know, very edge of the mess style. Let's rush in there and see what we can do and die to people who actually pay attention. But if they do that, you know, you're going to be raining hell on them as long as the entire length of this and into the Lord Room there, part of the Lord Room anyways. And you'll get lots of bags obviously for it, and they'll feel the pressure. In this case, even from a regular AC, which will despawn here in a little while because I'm on Seafarer's Rest again. And this is not a peak time, as you can see. There's not really any pin. There's a scout pin right here. But that's the defensive siege for Mendons. Attacking Mendons, as far as attacking Mendons goes, you got your obvious ram spot. It has two breakable catawalls right here and right here, and you want to try your best to be able to hit both, because the more damage you can do to drain their supplies, the better. So even if you don't take the tower, if it's sitting at 700 of 700 and they have to repair both of those, it's going to be down to about 100. And you know that means you can come back later to do more damage, and they won't have enough to repair it, and the pressure will be quite hard. But up here, anywhere up in here is a good place. Well, I say good place with quotes because it's, people are pretty aware of putting ballistas here and stuff. But Trebs and Katas are pretty decent for up here. They can hit both of these. The Katas can also, usually, well, Trebs too obviously, can get over the wall and kill whatever ACs are on the other side a lot easier than, say, a Meteor Shower person could. But there's also little places like kind of tucking it. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to get it just right, but you tuck the Treb right back in here and it will shoot over this rock. And you'll have a lot of defense from the rock. You won't be able to get splashed by other Trebs and stuff, so they'll have to actually come out and fight you. It's a good way to get fights. Similarly, up here, this is an excellent Treb spot because of the elevation and the distance. Now, if you notice, the other Treb right here is higher, but it's also farther back in the tower than the distance between you and the wall. So it has a little bit farther to shoot, even if it's a little higher. It's a little iffy of whether or not it would always hit, and it's a little tougher to aim, obviously. But this is a great spot for a long siege on this thing. And the problem with long sieges in EB, unless you know what you're doing, you have a good commander, and you have people on TS listening, chances are a long siege will get countered by another, the map forces blob. So you got to make sure you have a good fighting force too when you do a long siege on a tower. Let's see here. I'm gonna pop my staff on so I can AoE some stuff. This is obviously, you gotta, if you're scouting this tower, you gotta be very aware of everything that's going on around here, because there's so much to listen for. But you can see the meteor shower will hit this pretty well. And if you remember, there's an AC right here, but I can't see it as I am right now unless I hit control and kind of pan up. So it's you gotta know, kind of look for it to hit it. Same thing with stuff over here. You can hit all of this stuff pretty easily with a meteor shower, but you're going to be idle for 25 seconds with nothing to do, and in that time they can pressure you with ACs or they'll jump on you. Same with it takes 12 to 15 Dragon's Tooth, I think. It's been a while since I counted, to kill most of Trebs and stuff. So, a lot less for ACs, but Dragon's Tooth is much better for hitting stuff that's farther back you can't hit with meteor shower than it is anything else. But you can see you can hit anything along here, and I want to point out also one of the tricks of the trade, so to speak. And you can see it following above me. I targeted underneath here, and I was able to hit it, everything was hitting up above. You can do this on most bridges in the game. And the same often works with teleporting blink skills and stuff like that. It's kind of a trick of the trade, and it makes them. It actually gives you as an attacker an advantage, because they have to come over the side to get you when you're doing that. I was talking about the Dragon's Tooth earlier to clear this siege here. You would need ACs put here in between the Treb and you to kind of block the Dragon's Tooth in hopes of blocking it. But meteor shower can, meteor shower can hit that pretty easily. So it's kind of a minor preventative measure, but sometimes will pay off. I've also seen ACs put kind of down in here. You can target pretty much anywhere in there with an AC, and it's good for targeting the door trap too. That's pretty much it for Mendons that I can think of. If you have anything to add, please put it in the comments, and I can go ahead and update this, and I'll make sure credit is put to the person who said it. Thank you for listening, and join me next time. See ya.